Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. It's Thursday, the 11th of August, nearly Sean. And I'm joined, as always, by Sean Martin at Sean Martin TCW. I'm Tony Haggerty, Haggerty10 Twitter handle. You all know that by now. You've all known it yesterday anyway, I think, Sean, but we'll get to that. First and foremost, I'll draw your attention to the strap line along the bottom. Subscribe to us. You can see the daily pod, you get full access, and it's £1 a month. You know what to do. We say it every day. You can join us, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. You subscribe to the Celtic Way, and you can see the gruesome twosome here every day, or whatever you want to call us. Sean, it's sunny where I am. It's absolutely melting. I've had the dogs out already. Is it sunny where you are?
It's always sunny where I am, Tony. You know that Clyde Riviera, I keep saying.
The Riviera, indeed. Now, Sean, I alluded to sending Twitter into meltdown yesterday. I made a comment about Josip Juranovic. Yesterday it was Chelsea. Today it's Manchester United. In the summer it was Atletico Madrid. He seems, or he appears to be, a wanted man. Now, I made a comment on Twitter, and this is what I said. I said that if the Chelsea interest was genuine, or anyone's interest was genuine, I said then they had to come to the table. To get a seat at the table, they'd have to start anything a bidding between 12 and 15 million pounds. Now, I believe Celtic would want a lot higher than that, but I said in order to initiate a conversation, that's the kind of ballpark figure we were talking about. You said off air that you agreed with that, and I believe there's a report in one of the papers this morning saying that's the kind of figures that Celtic would be talking about.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, you caused a minor stir, Tony.
I
was very tempted, Tony, to come on and just wind you up by saying you're low ball and the fireball and all that. But for what it's worth, I do agree with you. I'm not going to just wind you up. I do agree with you. I think I can't really not agree with you because we've spoken about them before this summer.
Yes.
I think regular viewers will know where I stand on it. I've listed the kind of, remember the positives and the negatives, things that you go into the negotiations with, and it was it was almost a stalemate in terms of there's things that you don't pay for, there's things that you do, there's things that are valued higher, and different things. I mean, we spoke about him a couple of times this summer, his potential worth and all that. Shouldn't come as a surprise that if anything, I'm a wee bit more conservative than you in evaluation. I think you're right, but I mean, do you remember that wee checklist? It was
of course, I remember that.
I was saying
he's all the players as well when I tweeted it, you know. So
he's all the player he's going to be. Turns 27 next week, so you're not paying for potential, which is what clubs will usually go well over the odds for. I think it's why you see some players who haven't had much first team experience or even limited game time at kind of senior level sometimes going for big money. It's the potential. It's that combination of potential and age, which I don't think he ticks either of those boxes really for people. But he's currently a really good player, currently a Croatia international, which will count for something. And more than anything else, from Celtic's point of view, rather than his point of view, and rather than his worth, Celtic are just in a position where they've got him until 2026, and it's really in their court from that perspective. I suppose the kind of obviously the transfer record in Scotland's Kieran Tierney, and I think he was the exception when it came to that combination of age and potential, because although he still had a lot of potential, he'd been in the first team for a few years at that point. He'd more than put in his time before he moved. So I think in case people come in saying, well, Kieran Tierney was the club record, was the Scottish record, and that was potential, but also he went for the record, that kind of thing. I think he did both. He ticked all the boxes, Kieran Tierney. With Juranovic, I think it's still an odd one. And I do agree with you. I think that's probably what it is. And Sean Curran saying anything north of 15 million and he reckons the board will sell. I tend to agree with that. I do think that there's a certain, I don't know, I think people suggesting that it is a Scottish record automatically, fee that he's going to go for, I think is pushing it personally. Tony, I'm not. I really didn't want to just come on and agree with you, but I do agree with you. And I said earlier in the summer, Celtic should be operating from the stance that if it's a cash-rich English team, then you add X amount to any fee right away. And I do think that. So you see what you can get at that stage. But I do, in principle, I agree with you.
Now, here we go. This is... No. Did I hear you saying JJ would be valued at 12 to 15? No, you didn't. You heard me saying that if someone is interested, then that's the kind of opening bid that they have to come to the table with to show their interest and to show they're serious and to get a conversation started. I did not say sell him at that, because I know Celtic will be looking for a lot higher than that, whether they can get that or not. And that was the crux of the matter. I said between 12 and 15 million would be enough to initiate a conversation, get a seat at the table, but not sell. That was the point. The people saw the 12 to 15 million mark figure like Beach Boys and jumped all over it. I am saying that starts the conversation. You don't sell at that price. You take it from there and see how much you can get. I don't know how much Celtic are looking for. I don't know how much they can get. But as Sean's alluded to there, we've spoken about it. And also, guys, we want your questions as well. If you've got any questions that you want to throw at me and Sean today, now would be a good time to do it, and we'll have a look and see if we can answer them. The Retro Celtic comes in and says we don't want a conversation. Yeah, and listen, I would prefer him to stay if he wants to stay, because seemingly he's a happy player. But Celtic hold all the cards here, as Sean saying, and I said that yesterday to a couple of people that got back to me on Twitter. So the ball is very much in Celtic's court.
Yep.
Go on, Sean, you were going to flick up another comment.
Yeah, I was just going to say David Gillespie says he was going to comment on it as well, but you had your hands full, Tony. So I'm going to put up a couple of comments, right? One from B saying, can't sell Juranovic for anything less than 25 million as it would jeopardise our season. Right, as I say, I don't think it will be a Scottish transfer record. If they get it, fair play, but I just don't think, I think that's pushing it a wee bit. But the second part of that sentence, I think, is massive, because there's only 3 weeks or so left in the transfer window. Last summer, you were in a position where, and this was remember last summer before Anthony Ralston emerged as a viable right back, you were in a position where you were kind of panicking, thinking, who are Celtic going to get into play right back here? They arguably needed two. Obviously, Ralston ended up meaning that only needed one, but it would put you in a position, Tony. It would put you in a position that arguably you couldn't really put a monetary worth on, because it depends on, all right, they say they've got lists and all that sitting in the cupboards and different things, but it does put you in a position 3 weeks out when your squad's in such good shape. You've already started the season and you're rolling around into the Champions League group stages in a week after the deadline. So there's almost the argument that it's not worth selling regardless, because of the position it would put you in of having to recruit another first team right back. So I think that is a good point that B makes here. And basically Michael Ross is backing that up. Would leave Celtic very little time to replace Juranovic. Maybe Ange's identified one already. I think, as I say, there will be a list, but it's almost not worth the hassle unless it's a ludicrous offer.
Jerry McCann comes in and says, I would say if you want a seat at the table, then 20 million won't get you a seat, Jerry. They will deal at 20 million. That's my whole point. If it goes to 20 million pounds, Celtic will deal, in my opinion, because I think that's the kind of fee that they want. Probably want to recoup from Sean, because as you said, he's 27 in a few days' time, and there is no resale value on Juranovic, and this is probably his last big move. So that is my point. You need to start a negotiation somewhere to take it to the figure you want, or somewhere near the figure you want. Will Josip Juranovic go for more than Moussa Dembele? Will he go for more than Kieran Tierney? I conjecture like you, not. But I think Celtic are perfectly within their rights to try and get as much as they can for him if he wants to go. And I'm stressing.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. If he's in, obviously, it helps Celtic even more if he's in no real rush, which it doesn't seem to be, because he obviously commented that the Atletico link was flattering essentially, but that he was happy, he was at a big club, all that kind of thing. He's got the Champions League group stages to come up, so obviously Man United must be off the table there. But you never know with these things. But in our experience of Celtic, they will deal at a good offer. They know when's right to sell. They signed him for $2.5 million. I think the latest report from Croatia was a simple no, simple no. This isn't happening. You'll see, but in short, I don't think you were wide of the mark at all with your tweet.
Very kind, thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. And as an opinion, I'm not stating that I'm right. or anyone else is wrong. I'm just being logical about it and what I think is.
The thing is, Tony, there is rationale with. I see a couple of comments mentioning the likes of Calvin Bassey and stuff, and I do see the rationale with that because Juranovic is better than Bassey in my opinion as well. Plus, he's arguably more versatile as well, right back, left back. More of a CV behind him as well. But as I say, with the Bassey situation, they weren't paying for the player that Bassey is at the moment. They were paying for what they think he could be, and I don't think Juranovic is going to improve much. So in that sense, people that are offering will have less to kind of get excited about, if you know what I mean. But I might be wrong. We'll see. But that would be the big difference with that, I would say.
I'm not in a rush to sell him either, Sean. I'm not in a rush to see him leave the club. I want him to stay at Celtic, you know. But I also think that if he has a good Champions League group stages and a good World Cup, it'll add value as well.
That's the other one. Yeah, that's the other thing. If he goes and has a World Cup, then you can almost add another 5 million on.
Yeah.
Despite all the stuff I said about an age there, because a World Cup tends to change things.
Yeah, correct, but that's all premised on those two things happening, that he plays well in the Champions League and then storms the World Cup. That stands to reason, doesn't it? But there you go. So we shall see. It will come out.
Actually, Patrick McLaughlin, right, comes up with a really good comment here, not from Celtic's point of view, but from Juranovic's point of view. And Alison kind of made this comment when the first kind of Premier League interest apparently came to the fore and stuff. Patrick says Man United or Chelsea could quite easily cost Juranovic a place at the World Cup because both clubs are quite unstable and uncertain in terms of, obviously, I take it from Chelsea's point of view, new owners, new signings, all that kind of stuff. But Man United just totally off the rails, Bill looks at. So I think that's actually a really good point from Patrick.
Of course, definitely. I mean, I take that on board. That, you know, if you're Juranovic, you weigh it up, don't you? You're happy just now. You've got the World Cup and the Champions League group stages to look forward to. I think you've mentioned it before. He could, and as Patrick says there, he could jeopardise his place at the World Cup by going to teams like Chelsea and Man U who are unstable at the minute. So I think you would stay at Celtic for certainly till the January transfer window. That would be my concern in terms of Juranovic. You know, I think he'd be wise to stay to the January window and play the group stages and play in the World Cup and see how he fares and see if that interest is still there. Which, if it is still there, then he might potentially leave then. But you don't know what his thoughts are. Is it money? Is it agents just filling his head full of nonsense? And, because he said himself that he's happy, but he also said he was very flattered with the Atletico Madrid link. So,
there's a few people picking up on Patrick's point as well, just about the not necessarily guaranteed the game time that he would beat Celtic, that kind of thing. I think it's a fair point. He's obviously a confident player though, and I think he would back himself no matter where he went to get himself in the team. But I think it was a great point from Patrick, actually. Of
course.
And there's a comment here, Arthur Taylor, don't sell any more players, full stop. I think people might disagree with that because I think a few people want some people offloaded. I've seen Ayeti being mentioned a few times as part of any deal. And Frank Berry, Tony, you can always rely on Frank to bring everybody back down to earth. The more people are bigging him up, you would think Juranovic was another Danny McGrain.
I think every player that's linked with a move out the door comes with and a jetty. It's the old, you buy one, you get one free type thing, that. So he'll be on the bench at Chelsea, 20 million easy. William Lamont says there. Well, it's
Retro Celtic putting a 40 million price tag on McGrain. I hope that's now though. That's for Danny McGrain now.
Yes, indeed. Daniel Fergus, the great Billy Connolly, Celtic View, his greatest ever Celtic 11, and his rationale for picking Danny McGrain was, and he just said, Daniel Fergus, no surname required. That was why I just, and I thought that was brilliant. It was just a kind of ... the greatest fullback in the world ever type thing, So McGrain would be priceless nowadays. He certainly would, David, indeed. Now, Sean, there's an article on the website today by James Daly, and it's quite a good talker. And after his impact when he came on Saturday against Ross County, scored a wonderful third goal, and it's Leal Abada. And I wanted to ask you, do you think he's played himself into contention for a start against Kilmarnock, bearing in mind that he did really well last season Leila Abada. He scored some really important goals, and then he's popped up with another important goal on Saturday, just to make sure all the points were safe. He does like these wee cameos, doesn't he, every now and again, and doing something very productive.
Yeah, as for Sunday, I'm not sure. I don't know. I think he has made a case, but from the start, I'm not quite sure. We both picked Leila Abada as our 12th man of the year. Remember,
yeah,
which is obviously the category for most consistent impact from the bench or as a rotation piece. He started off well in that regard because it was a sub at the weekend when he came on and scored. Fundamentally, just taking it from a kind of big picture point of view, I just don't see him getting anywhere near as many starts as he did last term, just due to the relative depth in the forward line that Ange Postecoglou's got. He did show in pre-season he's still hungry for those minutes, and he'll have to make the most of the minutes that he does get. He did exactly that in Dingwall. Telling contributions from the bench is how he's going to get himself more starts, and I think that's the order of the day for him for the most of the season. No rotation option. There'll be a lot of rotation in general, but I think Abada will be key as a rotation piece. And whether that means he starts on Sunday or not, you'll notice I've been kind of copped out of answering that. So
I just liked what he did when he came on Sunday, Sean. I look at the likes of Abada started maybe sluggishly this season, and I just feel that maybe Abada, came on and he made a telling contribution and scored a wonderful goal. I mean, that's a brilliant strike for the third goal. I just think maybe it's time that he could get a run out on Sunday and a starting place, because he had showed a real desire and a hunger, and he wanted to make a difference when he came on Saturday, and that's what I liked. Players like him, and you pointed out that we have said Abada will be the most important 12th man for Celtic this season, but because he'll have to contribute in those minutes. But I think when you do that, then you deserve the wee reward of possibly starting the next game. And I don't know, I just think maybe Kilmarnock might actually suit him. And I know the surface isn't great, but it just might suit him. I could be wrong, and I don't know what the manager's thinking. We always try and second guess him, but just might be a game for somebody like Abada.
Potentially, aye. I mean, it's good to have those options. There's a few comments coming in. Maybe didn't read Alan Morrison's analysis on Jota left or right wing yesterday. Retro Celtic said before, Jota on the left, Abada on the right is more balanced than Maida on the left. I disagree with that. I think that the most balanced front three is the front three that he's been going with. Admittedly, Maida's not been having his best games, but then at the same time, consider how much he tires out the right backs before Jota goes over to the left and before Abada comes on. So I disagree with that, but Brian Roberts as well, agreeing with Retro Celtic, would let Jota play in his best position. I'll put Alan's analysis in there again because it's very interesting, Tony. I know you read it yesterday, and just it almost it's that thing about the data and the eye test, isn't it? There was a marriage between the two of them that basically you've got the best of both worlds anyway, because you do switch them within games anyway. But essentially, on the right, it creates more overall, as in combined goals and assists contributions, expected goals and assist contributions. And on the left, he's more likely to score. So it depends what you think brings more balance to the team, because it also doesn't tell you how he impacts the other players that play on the opposite wing at the same time.
Yeah, David Ferguson comes in and says, I would let Jota play wherever he wants. I think there's a school of thought with that, with Jota. David Bradley going back as well, saying, I think so Tony should start him. I think he was talking about Abada. Jason Lee says, Abada for SPFL games, Maida for Champions League. Now, I know you're big on Maida, Sean, and you think he's got a valid contribution to making you feel that those three are the balanced front three. I don't necessarily disagree with that. My thoughts, I'm always a kind of horses for courses kind of guy, and I don't know, there's something in the back of my head thinking that Abada might start on Sunday.
Might, very well might.
Could be wrong. I called it wrong last week, so I said Giakoumakis might start.
Yeah. See, the on Giakoumakis, actually, I quite like the thought of the so-called second unit, if you want to put it that way. Yes. Again, that's the basketball stuff coming through. I quite like that thought of Ralston, Abada down the right with Giakoumakis in the middle being your kind of go-to second unit team, because I think all three of them link up really well together. You wrote before about how often Ralston's the one putting in the balls for Giakoumakis and stuff. A lot of the time, it's Abada laying it off to Ralston down the wing as well, on his traditional overlap, that kind of thing. I quite like the thought of the three of them linking up regularly together. Whether that is, as I say, as a kind of as subs or as a rotation pieces, and rotating people out from the start, that kind of thing. I just like that idea. So he very well might start. He very well might, but I don't know. Get a few comments in here, Tony. Caroline McCune, sorry guys, being on holiday. What's the new addition to the wardrobe door, Tony?
Oh yeah, we spoke about that last week, didn't we? That's a Roy of the Rovers print that Sean and the people from the Celtic Way kind of gave me, Alison as well, for my 50th. And it's stuck onto the wardrobe with blue tack just now. It's Roy of the Rovers at Melchester Station. So I'm a big Roy of the Rovers fan. For those of you who are regular viewers and tune in, you'll know that. So it's on there with blue tack till I get a frame and a permanent home for it. So there you go, Caroline. That's what it is. Just to
you're getting a lot of compliments, Tony. I love your shirt, says Kevin.
Oh, I love the shirt. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. It's a wee present to me from me. Paul Smith number for those of you who like your high fashion. But there you have it. It's an old one actually. I've had it for a while, but dug it out today because it's, as you say, it's the Riviera everywhere, even East Kilbride, Sean. So the short sleeve number. I'm not often pictured in short sleeves, but there you go. There you have it.
T1 says it's a big Ange shirt.
Ange would rock this. I think I'm working on my Ange for him. Yes, indeed. There you go.
Back to the football. David Gillespie says he almost loves Dyson Maida's defensive input more than his attacking, but he feels he's a must start against tougher opposition. I don't disagree with any of that. I think that's a fair point. I think he will be key in the Champions League. Actually, I think as long as he can keep kind of pressing disciplined and doesn't let himself go slightly into the headless chicken mode, then I think he'll be key in the Champions League, and that potentially space in behind teams in the Champions League that are maybe better with the ball than the domestic opponents. I think you might see the best of Maida in the Champions League as well. But I do think and you saw it at the tail end of last season, I think he will make contributions to domestic football. I think there's no need to almost overreact to a couple of normal average games at the start of the season, Tony.
I think as well, I mean, that everybody who's in the squad is in there for a reason. The manager knows that they will make a valid contribution at some point. Just a question of when he deems that opportunity and chance will come along. I don't think Maida's been particularly great in the opening couple of games, but that's nothing. That's not a stick to beat him with. It's just an observation. But it does bring a lot to the team, and especially that comment there from David Gillespie. That's why he's in the team, because he brings more than just attacking option. He brings a lot of defensive input. He chases people down, and you've seen it before in the last minutes of games. He's still running, chasing guys to the corner flag and stuff like that. So that's what he brings. It's the behaviours that you've spoken about in the past before, Sean, the things that maybe go unnoticed, until you sort of pick up on it. You say, oh, he's chasing somebody down in the 90th minute, so
just think about it. Think about it in terms of, like, I don't know, some people seem to only have realised lately that they switch, right? But they've been switching. Maida and Jota have been switching for months, right? It's been like that since before the run-in last season. Especially for a while, it was Giakoumakis in the middle, and the three of them actually played really well together as well. But just think about if you were the right back in that situation, Tony, and you've had Dyson Maida constantly, absolute pest, just pestering you for 20 minutes, and then you go, right, he's away, and then it's Jota just dancing around about you. It's just it all fits into it. It's all relevant. It's all the context that you need to consider for it.
I think it's also part of the strategy, isn't it? Part of the game plan that Ange is formulating as well, and part of our brand of football that he likes to talk about. So yeah, I'm with that. Only one Roy, Tony, Big Aiken, Ryan Roberts. Yeah,
Maida must be the bleep test king, says B. Did you ever do a bleep test, Tony?
No, I've never done a bleep test.
We had to do them. I remember doing them in school and in the football and stuff like that. I was actually good at them when I was younger. Now I barely break walking pace now, so you wouldn't see me doing it now. But we've got a comment here, and this is arguably the most controversial thing, Tony. Jason Lee Ange in a grey jumper was the biggest tactical mistake in Dingwall. It made everyone confused.
Was it grey? I thought it was greenish.
I thought it was grey. I thought it was grey.
Fair enough.
I think you just see green everywhere, Tony.
Hey, I've got 4 eyes. Maybe that's why. There you go. I just wanted to say to Brian Roberts about Roy Aitken. Roy Aitken's a real person, Brian. Roy the Rovers is fictitious, just so we get that kind of right, I did like Big Roy Aitken as well, to be fair to him. But there you have it. Well, a grey jumper. I'm sure it was a kind of green colour, but I'll need to check that out.
Steele's Inquiry.
Aye, it's grey. That's right. There you go. I don't know. I'm not up in, because I know they get them in the Celtic shop, don't they? They stock them there, I believe.
Yep.
But
there you go, Tony. Michael O'Kane asking for a wee hello from you.
No problem at all, Michael. All the best to the guys in County Down. Thanks very much. That's really a king thing to say. Great show that you enjoy it. As you can see, myself and Sean enjoy it as well. We bounce off each other quite well, and we're not too scared to have a laugh and poke fun at ourselves more than anything.
Plus, speaking of high fashion, Tony, I quite like. Can you see Michael O'Kane's profile picture there?
It's tremendous. Yes, I know that would appeal to you, being the big Beatles man that you are, and Callum McGregor being the Paul McCartney of the team. It's all there. Roy the Rovers is the Santa Claus of football, says Oliver Gibson. Indeed he is. There you go. But no, we will build up.
You've ruined Retro Celtics Day. Roy Race wasn't real. No.
I'm sad to break it to him. There you have it. The green jump. Edward Wyerlaw says the green jumper shall rule them all.
There's quite a few people saying, Tony, you're actually right, and it was green. Maybe I'm colourblind. There we go.
I could have swore. I mean, I was not far from. I
was going to say. I mean, you literally seen it. You've seen it in person. So
made me say it was a green jumper, and I think he wore it because Celtic had black armbands on for John Hughes, which was why I think he wore it so that you would see the black armband because it wouldn't have shown up with the black jumper. I'm sure that was the reason that it was given. And as we say, we spoke about Yoli Hughes last.
I'm going to put a picture on and see. I don't know. I still think it's great, but you're what we call an eyewitness report, Tony. So you're standing in the grassy knoll or anything like that.
I don't want to stray into the unreliable eyewitness report.
Unreliable narrator.
An unreliable eyewitness. Well, if Twitter was anything to go by yesterday, it's most certainly unreliable. But there you go. But guys,
Ross trying to get us both there. Green with a hint of grey, Tony. A score draw, we'll call it. A score draw.
Excellent. Thanks for that. Thanks for bailing me out. I think the Mercury's meant to hit 24, 25, wherever you are.
Yep.
We will build up the Kilmarnock game on tomorrow's show, and we will attempt a starting 11, Sean. Get a bad in there. And we'll attempt to second guess the manager, as we always do. But we look forward to seeing you all again, same time, same back channel. As I say, enjoy the sun. Go on, Sean. You should probably take this in a kind of Liam Gallagher sense. Enjoy the sunshine. But I'll just direct you to the bottom there. Subscribe to the Celtic Way. Support top quality journalism, covering the club you love. For only £1 a month for full access. You can see the pods and you can read all the wonderful material that's on the website. You know what to do, guys. I always tell you, hit the button. But hit the subscribe button and join us. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the weather. It's not often we get it like this, Sean.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, Tony.